Hello and welcome aboard to the Snoozy Voyager. Imagine waking up 40,000 years ago, before the invention of writing, before agriculture, before cities. You're not at the top of the food chain. You possess no claws, no fangs, no thick fur to keep you warm. Your species is a vulnerable primate stumbling through a world of ice, predators, and starvation. You have no grocery stores, no heated homes, no antibiotics for infections, and absolutely no idea what germs are. By all logic, you should have gone extinct. And yet, against all odds, your species not only survived, it thrived. It painted the walls of caves, invented language, tamed fire, and eventually conquered the entire planet. So how did they do it? How did early humans manage to survive in a world that was actively trying to kill them? What did they eat when there were no farms? Where did they sleep when there were no houses? How did they stay warm when there was no central heating? And perhaps most importantly, how did they deal with hygiene when there was no soap, no toilet paper, and no concept of personal space? Tonight, we will answer these questions. We will explore the ingenious survival strategies of our distant ancestors. We will learn about their diets, their social structures, their fears, and their triumphs. This is a story of unimaginable hardship, of stunning creativity, and of a resilience that defies comprehension. It is also a story that will make you profoundly grateful for indoor plumbing. But before we journey back to the Stone Age, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It's a simple and wonderful way to support the channel, and it means a great deal to me. I'm also always curious to know where in the world and at what time you're joining me tonight, so I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. And now, settle in. Let the noise of the modern world fade away. Close your eyes and imagine the crackle of a fire under an ancient sky. Congratulations. You've just woken up as an early human, roughly 40,000 years ago in the middle of the Ice Age. This year everything is frozen and hungry. The first thing you notice when you wake up as an early human is how utterly inadequate your body is for survival. You look down at your hands and see no claws. You feel your teeth with your tongue and they are flat and dull, built for grinding rather than tearing flesh. Your skin is nearly hairless, offering almost no protection from the biting cold or the thorns of the wilderness. You cannot outrun a wolf. You cannot outfight a bear. You cannot even digest raw meat without getting violently ill. Compared to the other apex predators of your time, the saber-toothed cats and the cave lions, you are laughably weak. And yet, hidden inside your fragile skull is the most powerful weapon in the natural world, your brain. Let's start with what makes you so pathetically vulnerable. Your top running speed is perhaps 15 miles per hour if you are in excellent condition and sprinting for your life. A wolf can hit 40 miles per hour without breaking a sweat. Your bite force is around 160 pounds per square inch. A cave hyena's bite force is over 1,000 pounds per square inch, strong enough to crush bone like a breadstick. You have no natural armour. A porcupine has quills. A tortoise has a shell. You have skin so thin that a thorn bush can shred it. Even your senses are mediocre. Your eyesight is decent in daylight but terrible at night. Your sense of smell is pathetic compared to a wolf's. Your hearing is adequate but nothing special. By every physical measure you are a B- mammal, middle of the pack at best. But here's where things get interesting. Your body, for all its weaknesses, has one extraordinary feature. You can sweat. This sounds underwhelming until you understand what it means. Most mammals cool themselves by panting. This works fine for short bursts of activity, but it is terribly inefficient for sustained effort. You, however, are covered in sweat glands. You can run for hours in the midday heat, continuously cooling your body, while a four-legged predator with fur overheats and collapses. This is your secret weapon, endurance. You're not fast, but you are relentless. You're the horror movie monster that never stops coming. It's like being the Terminator, except instead of metal and circuits, you are powered by spite and the ability to not die from jogging. Your hands are another marvel. Look at your opposable thumb. That tiny anatomical detail allows you to grip objects with precision. You can hold a rock and strike it against another rock at exactly the right angle to create a razor-sharp flake of flint. No other animal can do this with such control. Your fingers are sensitive enough to thread a bone needle or pluck berries without crushing them. Your hands are not weapons themselves, but they are the tools that make weapons possible. They turn sticks into spears. They turn stones into axes. They turn your environment into an arsenal. And then there is your brain. That 3-pound lump of fat and neurons inside your skull is consuming 20% of your body's energy, even while you sleep. That is a massive investment. Your brain is expensive to run, but it pays dividends. It allows you to plan, to imagine future scenarios, to learn from the mistakes of others, to communicate complex ideas, to cooperate in ways no other species can match. A lion is stronger than you. A wolf is faster. But neither of them can sit around a fire and discuss a detailed hunting strategy for tomorrow. Neither of them can pass knowledge down through generations. Neither of them can invent. Think about that for a moment. You're standing at the edge of extinction, naked and shivering, and your only advantage is the ability to think creatively and work together. It is the most improbable survival strategy in the history of evolution. And somehow, impossibly, it works. You're not alone when you wake. You're surrounded by perhaps 20 to 30 other humans, all huddled together in a shallow cave. These are not strangers. They are your clan, your family, your entire universe. Early humans did not survive as individuals. They survived as tightly bonded social groups. This clan is multi-generational. There are small children clinging to their mothers, adolescents learning to hunt, strong adults in their prime, and a few precious elders whose accumulated knowledge is worth more than gold. Everyone has a role. Everyone contributes. And if you are expelled from the clan for stealing food or breaking a taboo, you're almost certainly going to die alone in the wilderness. The structure of your clan is not random. It is the result of countless generations of trial and error, a social system refined by evolution itself. At the centre are the elders, usually in their 40s or 50s if they are lucky enough to have survived that long. These individuals are living libraries. They know which plants are poisonous and which cure fever. They know the migration patterns of the herds. They know where to find water during drought. They know the stories of past winters and past hunts. Their knowledge is irreplaceable. When an elder dies, an entire encyclopedia of survival information vanishes with them. This is why the clan treats the elderly with respect and care, even when they can no longer hunt or gather. Their value is not in their physical strength, but in their accumulated wisdom. The adults in their prime, roughly ages 20 to 40, are the workhorses of the clan. They hunt the large game. They carry the heavy loads when the clan migrates. They defend the group from predators and rival clans. They are also the parents, responsible for raising the next generation. Their lives are brutally hard. They are constantly exhausted, constantly hungry, constantly at risk. A twisted ankle during a hunt, an infection from a minor wound, a harsh winter, any of these can kill them. They know this. They accept it. This is the bargain they have made with survival. The children are the future. They are noisy, playful, and seemingly carefree, but they are also learning constantly. By the age of 3, they can identify dozens of plants. By age 7, they can set simple snares for rabbits. By age 12, they are accompanying the adults on hunts. Childhood is short because it has to be. Resources are too scarce to support individuals who do not contribute. Even the youngest children have tasks: gathering firewood, fetching water, watching younger siblings. Everyone pulls their weight because there is no safety net. No one is coming to save you if your clan fails. But here's the crucial part. Your clan is not held together by force. There is no king, no chief with absolute power. Decisions are made collectively. When the clan needs to decide whether to stay or migrate, the adults gather and debate. The elders offer their wisdom. The hunters report on game availability. The women report on plant resources. Everyone's voice is heard. This is not democracy in the modern sense, but it is a form of egalitarian cooperation born from necessity. A tyrant who hoards resources or makes bad decisions will simply be abandoned. The clan will leave him behind and form a new group. Authority in your world must be earned and maintained through competence and fairness. Your clan is also your identity. You define yourself not as an individual, but as a member of this group. When you say we, you mean something profound. We survived the winter. We made a successful kill. We are safe tonight. The boundary between self and clan is blurred. This is not a weakness. This is strength. Because in a world where a single human is helpless, 20 humans working as one are nearly unstoppable. Your survival depends on your clan, and your clan's survival depends on you never, ever forgetting that. The most important thing in your life, more important than food or water or even shelter, is fire. The flickering flames at the center of your cave are not just for warmth. Fire is protection. It keeps the predators at bay. The great cats and wolves that stalk the darkness will not cross the barrier of light. Fire is also your kitchen. Raw meat is tough and riddled with parasites. Cooked meat is tender, safe, and far more nutritious. Fire is also your source of light in the endless winter nights. Without it, you are blind, cold, and utterly vulnerable. Keeping the fire alive is a communal obsession. Someone is always assigned to watch it, to feed it carefully, to never let it die. Because once it goes out, starting a new one is a monumental task. The relationship your people have with fire borders on religious. The fire at the center of your cave is not just a tool, it is a living thing. It must be fed, it must be tended, it must never be allowed to die. The person assigned to watch the fire tonight takes the responsibility with deadly seriousness. If they fall asleep and the flames gutter out, they have endangered the entire clan. The punishment for such negligence could be severe. A beating, expulsion, even death in extreme cases. This is not cruelty. This is survival. The fire is that important. Think about what fire actually does for you. First, and most obviously, it provides warmth. The Ice Age is not a metaphor. The temperatures regularly drop well below freezing. Without fire, you would die of hypothermia within hours on the coldest nights. The cave offers some shelter from the wind, but stone is a poor insulator. The fire is what makes the cave livable. You sleep as close to it as you dare, close enough to feel the radiant heat, far enough that you will not roll into the flames in your sleep. The warmth is not just comfort, it is life itself. Second, fire transforms food. Raw meat is difficult to chew and digest. It is also dangerous. Parasites, bacteria, toxins, cooking kills these threats. But more importantly, cooking breaks down the proteins and fats in meat, making them far easier for your body to absorb. A cooked meal provides significantly more usable calories than a raw one. This matters immensely when every calorie is precious. Fire also makes certain plant foods edible. Roots and tubers that would be indigestible raw become soft and nutritious when roasted. Fire has effectively expanded your diet, giving you access to food sources that other animals cannot exploit. Third, fire is your shield against the night. When darkness falls and the predators begin to prowl, the fire marks your territory. The dancing light confuses and frightens animals. Their instincts tell them that fire is dangerous, unpredictable, something to avoid. A wolf pack might circle your camp, their eyes glowing in the darkness beyond the firelight, but they will not attack. The fire has created an invisible wall. This is not foolproof. A truly desperate or bold predator might risk it. But most nights, the fire is enough. It buys you safety in a world where safety is the rarest of luxuries. Fourth, fire is social glue. The clan gathers around the fire every evening. This is where you eat together, where you talk and laugh and share stories, where the elders teach and the children listen. The fire is the heart of your community. It is warmth, food, safety, and culture all rolled into one. In a very real sense, fire is what makes you human. Other animals use tools. Other animals cooperate. But only humans have truly mastered fire. Only humans carry a piece of the sun with them wherever they go. The fear of losing the fire is so profound that your people have developed elaborate methods to preserve it. When the clan migrates, someone carries a smouldering bundle of coals wrapped in wet moss and leaves. This ember is guarded more carefully than anything else. It is the seed from which a new fire will be born. Letting it die is unthinkable. You need to start as fire, and you have no matches, no lighter, and no convenient flint and steel kit from a camping store. What you do have is patience, knowledge passed down through generations, and very sore hands. The most common method is the bow drill. You take a straight wooden stick and carve it to a point. You place this spindle on a flat piece of dry wood with a small notch cut into it. Then you wrap a cord made from animal sinew around the spindle and attach it to a curved bow. By rapidly sawing the bow back and forth, you spin the spindle against the flat wood, creating friction. After what feels like an eternity of effort, a tiny ember begins to glow in the notch. You carefully transfer this precious ember to a bundle of dry moss and tinder, then blow on it gently until it bursts into flame. It is exhausting, it is time-consuming, and it is absolutely essential. Let's walk through this process in detail, because it perfectly illustrates how hard your life actually is. First, you need to find the right materials. The spindle must be made from a relatively hard wood like oak or ash. The fireboard, the flat piece, should be softer, like cedar or willow. The bow is usually made from a flexible green branch. The cord can be made from twisted plant fibers, animal sinew, or even braided human hair in a pinch. Gathering and preparing these materials takes time and knowledge. Use the wrong wood, and you will spin for hours without producing even a wisp of smoke. Once you have your materials, you set up the apparatus. You carve a small depression in the fireboard where the spindle will sit. Next to this depression, you cut a V-shaped notch that opens to the edge of the board. This notch is critical. It is where the hot wood dust will accumulate to form an ember. You place a piece of bark or a dry leaf under the notch to catch this dust. Then you position the spindle in the depression, wrap the bowstring around it once, and brace the top of the spindle with a handhold, usually a small stone or piece of wood with a socket carved in it. This handhold allows you to apply downward pressure without the spindle wobbling. Now comes the hard part. You begin sawing the bow back and forth with long, steady strokes. The spindle spins rapidly against the fireboard. Friction generates heat. The wood begins to smoke. Your arm is burning with effort. You keep going. The key is consistency. Too slow, and you will not generate enough heat. Too fast, and you will wear yourself out before achieving ignition. You find a rhythm. Back and forth, back and forth. The smoke thickens. Black dust accumulates in the notch. After several minutes of continuous effort, you see it. A tiny glowing ember in the pile of dust. This is the moment of truth. You carefully stop spinning and remove the bow and spindle. You gently tap the fireboard to ensure the ember has fallen onto the bark below. Then you pick up the bark and tip the ember into a prepared bundle of tinder. This tinder is a nest of the driest, finest materials you could find: shredded bark, dry grass, fluffy seed pods. You cup the bundle in your hands and blow on it gently. Not too hard or you will scatter the ember, not too soft or it will die from lack of oxygen. You blow steadily. The ember spreads. The tinder begins to smoke. You blow harder. A tiny flame appears. Then another. Suddenly the entire bundle bursts into flame. You quickly place the burning bundle on your prepared fire lay, a careful arrangement of small twigs and larger sticks. The flames catch. The fire grows. You have done it. This entire process has taken perhaps 20 minutes if you are skilled and the conditions are good. On a damp day, or if you're inexperienced, it could take hours, or it might not work at all. This is why letting the fire die is such a catastrophe. Restarting it is brutally difficult. It's like trying to assemble IKEA furniture in the dark while wolves watch you. Except the furniture is made of sticks and your life depends on getting it right. You're hungry and breakfast is ready. Unfortunately, breakfast is a pile of roasted insects, a handful of bitter roots, and if you're very lucky, a chunk of fatty meat from a kill made 2 days ago. Early humans were not picky eaters. They could not afford to be. Your diet is determined entirely by what is available in your environment, and that changes with the seasons. In the summer, you gorge on berries, nuts, and edible plants. In the autumn, you dig for starchy tubers and roots. In the brutal winter, when plant life disappears, you rely almost entirely on meat. But meat is hard to come by. Large game is dangerous to hunt, and scavenging from predator kills means competing with hyenas and vultures. So you eat whatever you can find. Grubs pulled from rotting logs, bird eggs stolen from nests, snails, frogs, anything with calories. Let's be honest about what you're actually eating on a daily basis. The bulk of your diet, perhaps 60 to 70%, comes from plant foods. Not because you prefer them, but because they are more reliably available. You eat berries when you can find them, but most berries are small, tart, and not particularly filling. Wild strawberries are nothing like the plump supermarket varieties. They are tiny, mostly seeds, and you need to eat dozens to feel satisfied. You eat nuts, cracking them open with stones. Acorns are plentiful in some regions, but they are bitter with tannins and require extensive processing. You must shell them, crush them, then soak them in water for days to leach out the bitterness. Only then are they edible. This is a lot of work for a relatively small caloric payoff. You dig for roots and tubers, wild carrots, wild onions, starchy roots that have no modern name because they are no longer cultivated. Digging is back-breaking labour. You use a simple digging stick, essentially a sturdy branch with a fire-hardened point. You jab it into the soil, pry up the earth and search for the root. Sometimes you find something substantial. Often you find nothing. The roots you do find are dirty, fibrous and tough. They must be roasted in the coals of the fire to become palatable. Even then they are not delicious. They are fuel, bland, chewy fuel that keeps you alive. Then there are the insects. Modern people are squeamish about eating bugs, but you are not. Insects are everywhere. They're easy to catch, and they are surprisingly nutritious. You flip over rocks and logs to find fat white grubs. You smoke out beehives to steal the honeycomb, enduring stings for the precious sweetness of the honey and the protein-rich larvae inside. You roast grasshoppers and crickets over the fire until they are crunchy. You eat termites by the handful. None of this is appetizing by modern standards, but your taste buds are not the same as a modern human's. You have been raised on this diet. To you, a roasted beetle is a perfectly acceptable snack. It's like eating trail mix, except the trail mix is crunchy and has legs. Meat's the prize. A successful hunt means the clan eats well for days, But meat is rare and precious. When you do have it, nothing is wasted. You eat the muscle tissue, obviously, but you also eat the organs. The liver is prized for its rich, iron-heavy flavour. The kidneys, the heart, the tongue. The brain is considered a delicacy, soft and fatty, eaten raw or lightly cooked. You crack open the bones to suck out the marrow, a rich source of fat that is essential for surviving the winter. You even eat the stomach contents of herbivores. The partially digested plants in a deer's stomach provide nutrients and roughage that your own diet often lacks. And when meat begins to spoil, you eat it anyway. You cannot afford waste. Meat that is a few days old and starting to smell is still edible if cooked thoroughly. You develop a strong stomach out of necessity. Food poisoning is a risk, but starvation is a certainty if you are too picky. You learn to identify the difference between meat that is merely old and meat that is truly rotten. Old meat is greyish and smells strong. Rotten meat is greenish, slimy, and smells like death itself. The line between the two is your margin for error. Your diet lacks variety. It lacks spices. It lacks the reliable abundance that agriculture will one day provide. But it is enough. Barely. You're almost always a little bit hungry. You dream of food. You fantasize about finding a beehive or stumbling upon a wounded animal. Food is not just sustenance. It is an obsession. Your clan has spotted a herd of wild horses in the valley below. This is an opportunity. Fresh meat could feed everyone for days, but hunting megafauna is not a thrilling adventure. It is a calculated risk that could easily end in death. You and several other hunters, all men in their physical prime, grab your spears. These are not metal-tipped weapons. They are long wooden shafts with fire-hardened points, or, if you are fortunate, tips made from knapped flint. Your strategy is not to charge in heroically. It is to isolate a weak or injured animal from the herd, then exhaust it over hours of relentless pursuit. Humans are endurance hunters. You cannot outrun a horse in a sprint, but you can keep jogging after it, hour after hour, until it collapses from heat exhaustion. Then, and only then, do you move in for the kill. The hunt begins with observation. You and the other hunters crouch in the tall grass, downwind of the herd, so your scent does not give you away. You watch, you study. You're looking for a target. Not the strongest animal, not the fastest. You're looking for weakness. An old mare with a limp, a young stallion that seems sluggish, any sign of injury or illness. The clan cannot afford to chase a healthy animal that will easily outpace you. You need an edge. After an hour of patient watching, you spot your target, a mare on the edge of the herd. She's favouring her left hind leg. Perfect. The hunters spread out. The plan is to spook the herd and isolate the injured mare. You rise from the grass, shouting and waving your arms. The herd panics and bolts. The mare tries to keep up but falls behind. This is your moment. You sprint after her, not at full speed. You are pacing yourself. The mare gallops away, easily outdistancing you. But you do not stop. You keep jogging. You follow her tracks. You're not trying to catch her now. You're trying to keep her moving, to deny her rest, to overheat her. Hours pass. The sun climbs higher. The heat becomes oppressive. You're sweating profusely. But this is good. This is your advantage. The mare, covered in fur and unable to sweat efficiently, is overheating. She slows from a gallop to a trot, then to a walk. You close the distance. She sees you and bolts again, but her movements are sluggish now. You follow. More hours pass. You drink from a water skin made from a stomach pouch. You chew on strips of dried meat for energy. The mare has stopped running. She is standing, flanks heaving, foam dripping from her mouth. She is done. You approach cautiously. An animal this size, even exhausted, is still dangerous. A kick from those powerful hind legs could shatter your skull. The other hunters have caught up. You surround the mare. She turns her head, eyes rolling in fear and exhaustion. You raise your spear. The moment of the kill is not glorious. It is grim and necessary. You thrust the spear into her chest, aiming for the heart. She screams. A terrible high-pitched sound. She stumbles. You stab again and again. Blood pours from the wounds. She collapses. Her breathing becomes ragged, then stops. You stand over the body, chest heaving, covered in sweat and blood. You feel no triumph, only relief. The hunt is successful. But it could easily have gone differently. The mare could have had more stamina. She could have led you into dangerous terrain. You could have been injured. One of the other hunters could have been kicked and killed. Hunting is not sport. It is warfare against an opponent who fights for its life with every ounce of strength. And you have won. This time. But here's the thing. You have been running for 4, maybe 5 hours in the baking sun. You're miles from camp, and you're now standing next to several 100 pounds of dead horse. The work is just beginning. The horse is dead. Now comes the truly hard work. You and your clan must butcher this massive animal before scavengers arrive or the meat begins to rot. Using razor-sharp flint tools, you carefully slice through the hide, peel it away, and begin separating the meat from the bone. Nothing is wasted. The hide will become clothing or shelter. The bones will be cracked open for their rich, fatty marrow. The sinews will be dried and used as cord. Even the stomach and intestines are cleaned and repurposed as containers. The liver and kidneys, rich in nutrients, are often eaten raw on the spot. This is not squeamishness. This is efficiency. Your people have learned over countless generations exactly how to extract every possible calorie from a kill. Butchering begins immediately. The longer you wait, the more dangerous the situation becomes. The smell of blood attracts every predator and scavenger in the area. Vultures are already circling overhead. Somewhere in the distance you hear the yipping of hyenas. You have perhaps 2 hours before you will need to defend your kill or abandon it. Speed is essential. You kneel beside the carcass and make the first cut. Starting at the belly, you slice through the hide with a sharp flint blade. The cut must be shallow. Too deep, and you will puncture the intestines, spilling their contents and ruining the meat. You peel back the hide, revealing the pale bluish membrane beneath. The hide is valuable. It takes time to remove properly, but it is worth the effort. You work your blade between the skin and the muscle, cutting the connective tissue. Another hunter does the same on the opposite side. Together you peel the hide away like removing a jacket. It comes off in one large piece, heavy and slick with blood and fat. This hide will be stretched, scraped and dried back at camp. It will become clothing, a sleeping mat, or a covering for a shelter frame. Nothing is wasted. With the hide removed, you open the body cavity, you cut through the abdominal wall, and the intestines spill out, a steaming mass of coiled tubes. The smell is overwhelming, pungent and organic. You reach inside and cut the connective tissues that hold the organs in place. The liver comes out first, dark and heavy. You hand it to another hunter who slices off a piece and eats it raw, blood running down his chin. This is tradition. The first taste of the kill goes to the hunters. The liver is rich in vitamins and iron. You take your own piece. It is warm and slippery and tastes like metal. It is delicious. The heart and lungs are removed next. Then the kidneys. Each organ is placed carefully on the hide. The intestines are pulled free and handed to the women of the clan who have arrived from camp to help. They will take these back and clean them thoroughly, scraping out the contents. Once cleaned, the intestines can be used as water containers or as casings for preserved meat. Even the stomach is saved. It is large, tough, and when cleaned makes an excellent bag for carrying water or storing fat. Now you begin the real work, separating the meat from the bone. You start with the legs, cutting through the joints to remove them. The shoulder joint is complex. You work your blade around it, feeling for the natural separation points. Once you understand the anatomy, it is almost like a puzzle. Each joint has a seam. Each muscle group has a natural boundary. You follow these guides, cutting and peeling. The meat comes away in large, heavy sections. The haunches, the shoulders, the ribs, the loin. The other hunters are working just as quickly. One is cracking the leg bones with a heavy stone, exposing the marrow inside. Marrow is pure fat, a concentrated source of energy. It is sucked out raw or saved for later. Another hunter is cutting the tendons from the legs. These will be dried and used as cord. They are incredibly strong and flexible, perfect for lashing spear points or sewing hides. Time is running short. The vultures have landed and are hopping closer. In the distance you see a pack of hyenas watching. There is still meat on the skeleton. You make a decision. Take what you can carry and leave the rest. You cannot defend this carcass indefinitely. You load the meat onto the hide, tying it into a bundle. Each hunter shoulders a portion. The bundle is heavy, perhaps 70 or 80 pounds. You begin the long walk back to camp. Behind you, the hyenas move in. You're cold, and your only protection from the elements is the skin of dead animals. Your clothing is a patchwork of hides and furs stitched, together with bone needles and sinew thread. It is not comfortable. The leather is stiff and scratchy, and it smells terrible. A mix of smoke, sweat, and the faint odour of decay that never quite goes away. You wear layers. In the summer, a simple loincloth or tunic might suffice. In the winter, you pile on everything you own. Fur-lined leggings, a heavy cloak made from reindeer hide, mittens stuffed with dried grass for insulation, even primitive boots, essentially bags of leather tied around your feet. None of it is waterproof. When it rains, you get wet and stay wet, shivering by the fire until your clothes finally dry. Let's talk about how these clothes are made, because it is a process that takes weeks. First, you need the hide. This comes from a successful hunt. Once the animal is butchered and the hide is removed, the real work begins. The hide must be processed or it will rot. You stretch it out on the ground and stake it in place with wooden pegs. Then you take a scraping tool, usually a flint blade set into a wooden handle, and you scrape away every bit of fat and tissue clinging to the inner surface. This is exhausting work. Your arms ache, your back screams, but it must be done. Any remaining fat will go rancid and the hide will stink and attract flies. Once the hide is scraped clean, you must tan it. Tanning is the process that transforms raw skin into durable leather. There are several methods. The most common is brain tanning. Every animal has exactly enough brain matter to tan its own hide. You take the animal's brain, which you carefully save during butchering, and you mash it into a paste. You work this paste into the hide, rubbing it in thoroughly. The natural oils and enzymes in the brain break down the proteins in the skin, making it soft and pliable. Then you stretch and work the hide for hours, pulling and flexing it as it dries. If you do not keep working it, it will dry stiff as a board. This process takes days. It is tedious. It is smelly. It is absolutely necessary. Once the hide is tanned, it can be cut and sewn into clothing. You use a bone awl to punch holes along the edges of the leather pieces. Then you thread sinew through the holes, stitching the pieces together. Sinew is the connective tissue from an animal's legs. When dried, it becomes hard and thread-like. When wet, it is pliable and easy to work with. As it dries, it shrinks and tightens, creating a strong waterproof seam. Your clothing is essentially an assemblage of hide stitched together with animal parts. It is functional, but far from comfortable. The leather is stiff and scratchy against your skin. It chafes. You develop calluses where the edges rub. In the summer, the leather traps heat and you sweat profusely. In the winter, the leather becomes cold and hard. You layer furs over the leather for insulation. These furs come from smaller animals, rabbits, foxes, wolves. The fur side is worn against your skin for warmth. The leather side faces out to block the wind. You wear multiple layers because a single layer is not enough. Even then you are often cold. The wind finds every gap, every seam, every opening. Your boots are particularly problematic. They are not boots in the modern sense. They are more like leather bags tied around your feet and ankles. The soles are made from thick hide, but they wear through quickly. Walking on rocks and rough terrain shreds them. You patch them constantly. You stuff them with dried grass for insulation. Your feet are almost always cold and damp. Frostbite is a constant risk in winter. You check your toes every night for the telltale white patches that signal the beginning of tissue death. And the smell. Let's not forget the smell. Your clothes are never washed. There is no soap, no laundry. The leather absorbs smoke from the fire, sweat from your body, blood from butchering, and the general grime of daily life. Over time, the smell becomes part of you. You stop noticing it. But a modern person would find it overwhelming. A thick, organic, earthy smell. The smell of survival. It's like wearing a sleeping bag made of beef jerky. Technically functional, but nobody's going to compliment you on your outfit. When night falls and exhaustion overtakes you, you lie down to sleep. But there are no mattresses, no pillows, no warm blankets. Your bed is the ground itself, softened slightly by a pile of dried grasses, leaves, or animal furs if your clan has been successful in the hunt. You sleep in a communal huddle, pressed against your family members for warmth. This is not optional. On the coldest nights, body heat is the only thing standing between you and hypothermia. You sleep lightly, always half aware of the sounds outside the cave, the howl of wolves, the snap of a branch, the grunt of a bear. You are prey as much as predator, and the night belongs to things with better teeth than yours. Let's set the scene. The sun has set. The temperature, which was merely cold during the day, has plummeted. The stone walls of the cave radiate a damp chill. The fire at the centre of the cave provides a circle of warmth, but only if you are close to it. Beyond that circle, the darkness is absolute, and the cold is penetrating. You prepare your sleeping area. If you're lucky, you have a fur from a previous hunt. You spread this on the ground, fur side up. If you do not have a fur, you gather armfuls of dried grass or leaves and pile them into a rough nest. This provides a thin layer of insulation between you and the frozen stone. You lie down, curling into a fetal position to conserve heat. Immediately you feel the cold seeping up from the ground. The fur or grass helps, but it is not enough. This is why you sleep in a communal huddle. Your clan does not spread out. Everyone sleeps close together, bodies pressed against one another. Children sleep between adults. The elderly sleep near the fire. This arrangement maximizes shared body heat. It is not comfortable. You can feel the bony elbow of the person next to you digging into your ribs. You can hear snoring, coughing, the shifting of bodies. There is no privacy, no personal space, but there is warmth, and warmth is survival. Sleep does not come easily. The ground is hard. Your hip aches where it presses against the stone. You shift positions. Your shoulder now aches. You shift again. You're never truly comfortable. Modern humans are accustomed to soft mattresses that conform to the body. You're accustomed to discomfort. You've been sleeping on the ground your entire life. Your body has adapted. You can fall asleep on stone, but that does not mean it is pleasant. The sounds of the night keep you alert. The fire crackles and pops. Outside the cave, you hear the wind howling through the trees. A branch snaps. Your eyes open. You listen. Is that an animal? A predator? Or just the wind? You wait. The sound does not repeat. You close your eyes. Minutes later, you hear the distant howl of a wolf. It is far, away, not an immediate threat. But it is a reminder. The wilderness is full of things that would happily eat you if given the chance. The fire keeps them away. Usually, but not always. Your sleep is shallow and fragmented. You drift in and out of consciousness. You dream, but your dreams are not the abstract narratives of modern people. They are immediate and visceral. You dream of the hunt, of running, of blood. You dream of being chased. These are not idle fantasies. These are the memories and fears of your daily life replaying in your sleeping mind. You wake frequently, sometimes from the cold, sometimes from a sound, sometimes from a dream so vivid it felt real. The worst part is the need to relieve yourself in the middle of the night. It is freezing. You're finally warm, nestled in the pile of bodies. But your bladder is insistent. You have no choice. You carefully extricate yourself from the huddle, trying not to wake anyone. You step over sleeping forms. You grab a stick from the fire to use as a torch. You walk to the cave entrance. The cold night air hits you like a physical blow. You step outside just beyond the firelight. You do your business as quickly as possible. The cold is intense. Your breath comes in white clouds. You hurry back inside, shivering violently. You burrow back into the sleeping huddle, pressing against the warm bodies. Slowly the shivering stops. Sleep returns. This is your bed. Hard, cold, and shared. It's like camping, except camping lasts your entire life. Let us address the question that has been lurking in the back of your mind. How do early humans deal with basic hygiene? The answer is simple. They do not. At least not in any way you would recognize. There is no soap. There is no shampoo. There is no toilet paper. You bathe occasionally if you happen to be near a river or lake in warm weather by simply wading in and rinsing off the worst of the grime. In winter, bathing is almost impossible, so you simply do not. Your hair becomes matted and greasy. Your skin is covered in a layer of dirt and smoke residue. You itch constantly from lice and fleas that have taken up permanent residence in your furs. As for relieving yourself, you walk a short distance from camp, squat behind a rock, and use leaves or moss to clean up. It is not dignified, but dignity is a luxury you cannot afford. Let's start with bathing, or the lack thereof. In the summer, if your clan is camped near a body of water, you might wade in for a swim. This is not a formal bath. There is no soap or scrubbing. You simply submerge yourself and let the water wash away some of the surface dirt and sweat. The water is cold, even in summer. You do not linger. You get in, splash around for a few minutes, then get out and dry yourself by the fire. This removes the most obvious grime, but it does not truly clean you. There are no towels, so you air dry or use your hands to wipe off the excess water. Your hair, if you bothered to get it wet, remains greasy and tangled. You have no comb. You use your fingers to work out the worst of the knots, but it is a losing battle. In the winter, bathing is not an option. The rivers and lakes are frozen. The air is too cold to expose your skin for more than a few seconds, so you do not bathe for months. You can imagine what this means. The dirt accumulates, the sweat builds up, the smoke from the fire coats your skin and hair with a fine layer of soot. You smell. Everyone smells, but since everyone smells, no one notices, or rather, the smell becomes so normal that it is simply part of the background. It is the smell of humanity, earthy, musky, with notes of wood smoke and old leather. Your hair is a particular problem. Without regular washing, it becomes oily and matted. You develop tangles that are impossible to remove. Over time, these tangles form into something resembling primitive dreadlocks. Your hair becomes a dense, matted mass. You could cut it using a sharp flint blade, but hair provides warmth. In winter, a thick mass of hair is valuable insulation, so you leave it. The matted hair also becomes a home for parasites. Lice are a constant companion. These tiny insects live in your hair, feeding on your blood and laying eggs. You can feel them moving. You can feel the itching. You scratch constantly. Sometimes the clan will have a grooming session where people help each other pick through hair and remove the lice by hand. But it is a temporary solution. The lice always come back. Fleas are equally problematic. They live in the furs you wear and sleep on. They bite. They itch. They spread. There is no effective way to get rid of them. You learn to live with the constant low-level discomfort of being bitten by tiny insects. It is just part of life. Modern people would find this intolerable. You find it normal. As for bodily waste, the solution is straightforward. When you need to urinate or defecate, you walk a short distance from the cave, find a secluded spot, and squat. There is no outhouse, no designated latrine, just the wilderness. You do your business and clean yourself as best you can with whatever is available. Leaves are the most common option. Soft, broad leaves work best. But in winter, when leaves are scarce, you might use moss or snow, or simply nothing at all. You learn not to think about it too much. The lack of hygiene has consequences. Skin infections are common. A small cut can become infected easily when you are constantly dirty. Rashes develop where skin rubs against leather. Dental hygiene is non-existent. There is no toothbrushing. Food particles remain lodged between your teeth, leading to cavities and gum disease. By your 30s, you will likely have lost several teeth. This makes eating difficult and reduces your lifespan. Bad teeth can lead to abscesses, which can lead to blood infections, which can kill you. But here is the strange thing. Despite all of this, you are relatively healthy. Your immune system is incredibly robust. You've been exposed to dirt, parasites, and pathogens your entire life. Your body has adapted. You rarely get sick with the kind of minor illnesses that plague modern people. Colds are rare. Allergies are almost unknown. Your body is hardened. It is dirty. It is uncomfortable. But it functions. It's like being a feral cat. You're not pampered, but you are surprisingly resilient. You wake up one morning with a fever. Your head pounds. Your body aches. You feel weak and dizzy. In the modern world, this might be a mild flu, inconvenient but manageable. In the Ice Age, it is a potential death sentence. Your clan has no concept of germs or viruses. Illness is mysterious and terrifying. The elders may try to help. They know which plants can reduce fever or ease pain. Willow bark, for example, contains a compound similar to aspirin. But their knowledge is limited and based entirely on trial and error. If your fever breaks, you survive. If it does not, you die, and your body is left in a shallow grave or simply abandoned to the scavengers. There are no hospitals. There are no second opinions. You either get better or you do not. The fever started during the night. You woke shivering despite being near the fire. Your skin felt hot to the touch. Someone noticed. One of the elders, a woman who has seen many illnesses, places her hand on your forehead. She frowns. She knows this is serious. You're moved closer to the fire. Someone brings you water in a leather pouch. You drink, but your stomach rebels. You vomit. The clan watches with concern. A serious illness in one person can spread to others. In the close confines of the cave, disease moves quickly. The elder begins her treatment. She leaves the cave and returns with plants she has gathered. Willow bark, which she strips and has you chew. The taste is bitter and astringent. but within an hour your fever drops slightly. She also prepares a tea from dried leaves, something that smells sharp and medicinal. You drink it. It tastes terrible, but you're in no position to complain. She covers you with an extra fur and instructs the others to keep you warm and hydrated. This is the extent of her medical intervention. There are no pills, no injections, just plants, warmth, and hope. The hours pass in a feverish haze. You drift in and out of consciousness. You have strange, vivid dreams. You see animals that speak. You see the faces of the dead. You're not sure what is real and what is delirium. Time becomes meaningless. At some point you wake and it is night. Or is it day? You cannot tell. Someone offers you water. You drink. You sleep. The cycle repeats. Your clan does not abandon you, but they are wary. If your illness is contagious, it could spread. Children are kept at a distance. The hunters continue their work. Life goes on. Your survival is important, but not more important than the survival of the clan as a whole. If you die, you will be mourned, but the clan will move forward. This sounds callous, but it is pragmatic. Sentiment cannot overcome reality. On the third day, the fever begins to break. You wake feeling weak but clear-headed. Your body aches, but the crushing weight of the illness has lifted. You have survived. The elder checks on you and nods with satisfaction. She has seen this before. Some survive, some do not. You are lucky. Over the next few days, you slowly regain your strength. You eat small amounts of food. You sit by the fire. You do not participate in the heavy work, but you are recovering. The clan is relieved. One less person means less security, less labour, less chance of survival for everyone. But not all illnesses end this way. You have seen others who are not so lucky. A child who developed a cough that never stopped, who slowly wasted away until he could no longer breathe. A young woman cut her foot on a sharp rock, and the wound became infected. The infection spread up her leg, turning the flesh black and rotting. She died in agony, screaming, while the clan could do nothing but watch. An old man who simply stopped eating, his body giving up after too many years of hardship. Illness in your world is a roll of the dice. Sometimes you win, often you do not. It's like playing Russian roulette, except the gun is invisible and could go off at any moment. You're out gathering firewood when you slip and fall, gashing your leg open on a sharp rock. Blood pours from the wound. Pain shoots up your thigh. You limp back to camp, and the elders examine the injury. They clean it as best they can with water, then pack it with moss or crush medicinal plants to stop the bleeding and prevent infection. If you are lucky, the wound will heal. If you are unlucky, it will become infected, and you will develop a fever. Without antibiotics, even a small cut can turn deadly. Broken bones are another nightmare. If you break your arm or leg, the best your clan can do is splint it with sticks and hope it heals straight. Many people live with permanent disabilities from poorly healed injuries, and if the bone pierces the skin, infection is almost guaranteed. The moment you fall, you know it is bad. The pain is immediate and sharp. You look down and see the gash. It is deep, perhaps 2 inches long, cutting through the skin and into the muscle beneath. Blood flows freely, soaking your leather leggings. You press your hand against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. You call out. One of the other clan members hears you and runs over. He sees the injury and his face goes pale. This is serious. You're helped back to camp. Every step is agony. By the time you arrive, the entire clan has gathered. The elder takes charge. She instructs someone to bring clean water from the stream. Another person is sent to gather specific plants. She knows which ones have healing properties. While you wait, she examines the wound. She probes it gently with her fingers, checking for dirt or debris. You grit your teeth. The pain is intense. She finds a small piece of stone lodged in the wound. She picks it out. More blood flows. When the water arrives, she pours it over the wound, washing away the blood and dirt. The cold water stings. You clench your fists. Next, she takes a handful of moss, the soft, absorbent kind that grows on rocks near the stream. She packs this directly into the wound. The moss serves two purposes. It absorbs blood and helps clotting. It also has mild antiseptic properties, though the elder does not know this in scientific terms. She knows only that wounds treated with moss tend to heal better than those that are not. She then takes crushed leaves from a plant, yarrow perhaps, and applies this as a poultice over the moss. Finally, she wraps the entire wound with a strip of leather, binding it tightly. The pressure helps stop the bleeding. She instructs you to stay off the leg as much as possible. Rest is the only treatment. You must let the body heal itself. The next few days are critical. You lie by the fire, your leg elevated. The wound throbs with a dull, constant ache. You check it repeatedly, looking for signs of infection. On the second day, the area around the wound is red and swollen. This is normal, you're told. But if the redness spreads, if red streaks begin to climb up your leg, that is very bad. That means the infection is entering your blood. That means death is likely. You're fortunate. The redness does not spread. By the fourth day, the wound is beginning to close. The moss and poultice are removed. The wound looks clean. No pus, no foul smell. Just raw, healing flesh. You have survived. But the scar will be with you forever. A thick, raised line on your thigh. A reminder of how close you came. Broken bones are even more terrifying. You once saw a man break his leg during a hunt. He stepped into a hidden hole and his leg snapped with a sickening crack. The bone did not pierce the skin, which was fortunate, but the leg was bent at an unnatural angle. The clan worked quickly. 2 hunters held the man down while the elder pulled on the leg, trying to realign the bone. The man screamed. It was a sound you will never forget. Once the bone was roughly straight, they splintered it with 2 sturdy branches, lashing them in place with sinew. The man survived, but his leg never healed properly. It was shorter than the other and bent slightly. He walked with a pronounced limp for the rest of his life. He could no longer hunt. His role in the clan changed. He became a toolmaker, sitting by the fire and napping flint while others brought food. Injuries do not just cause pain. They redefine your place in the clan. If you cannot hunt, you must contribute in other ways. If you cannot contribute at all, you become a burden. The clan will care for you if they can, but resources are limited. In the harshest winters, when food is scarce, the injured and the sick are sometimes left behind when the clan migrates. It is not cruel. It is mathematics. The survival of the many outweighs the survival of the one. You understand this. Everyone understands this. It does not make it any less terrifying. A woman in your clan is about to give birth. This should be a moment of joy, but it is also one of the most dangerous events in her life. Childbirth in the Stone Age has a terrifyingly high mortality rate for both mother and baby. There are no doctors, no sterile environments, no caesarean sections. The other women in the clan, especially the elder midwives, assist as best they can. They know techniques passed down through generations. How to position the mother, how to massage her belly, how to tie off the umbilical cord with sinew. But complications like breech births, hemorrhaging or infections can kill quickly. If the mother survives, she must now nurse and protect a fragile infant in a world full of hazards. Many babies do not survive their first year. It is a grim reality that every member of your clan has learned to accept. The woman has been in labour for hours. She's in the back of the cave, surrounded by the elder women. Men are not allowed. This is women's work. You hear her cries of pain echoing off the stone walls. It is a sound that makes everyone in the clan uneasy. Childbirth is dangerous. Everyone knows someone who has died this way. A sister, a mother, a friend. The women attending the birth know what they're doing, but their knowledge is limited. They know how to help a normal birth. They know very little about what to do when things go wrong. The birthing position is not lying down as it is in modern hospitals. The woman is squatting, supported by 2 other women who hold her under her arms. This position allows gravity to help. It is more effective than lying flat, but it is also exhausting. The woman has been squatting and pushing for what feels like forever. Her legs shake with fatigue. Sweat pours down her face. The elder midwife kneels before her, watching, waiting, ready to catch the baby when it comes. Finally, after another hour, the baby begins to crown. The midwife can see the top of the head. She encourages the mother. Push, rest, push again. The baby's head emerges, then the shoulders, then, in a rush of blood and fluid, the entire body. The midwife catches the slippery infant. She checks quickly. The baby is breathing. It lets out a thin, angry cry. This is good. A silent baby is a dead baby. She ties off the umbilical cord with a length of sinew, then cuts it with a sharp flint blade. The baby is handed to the mother, who holds it against her chest, exhausted but alive. But the danger is not over. The mother must still deliver the placenta. This happens a few minutes later. The midwife examines it carefully. If pieces are left inside, the mother can develop a fatal infection. The placenta looks complete. Good. The midwife then checks the mother for tearing. Childbirth often causes tears in the vaginal tissue. If the tears are severe, there is little that can be done. The wounds will be cleaned and packed with moss, but they will be painful and prone to infection. This mother has only minor tearing. She is lucky. The baby is cleaned with water and wrapped in soft fur. The mother is given water to drink and food to eat. She has lost a significant amount of blood, and she needs to rebuild her strength. Over the next few days, she will rest as much as possible while her body recovers. But rest is a relative term. There is no maternity leave. Within a week, she will be back to her normal duties, carrying the baby with her in a sling made from leather and fur. Not all births end this way. You remember a birth from 2 winters ago. The baby was breech, coming out feet first instead of head first. The midwife tried to turn the baby, reaching inside the mother and attempting to reposition it, but she could not. The labour went on for too long. The mother, exhausted and bleeding, eventually died. The baby died with her. 2 lives, lost in a single night. The clan mourned, but there was no time to dwell on the tragedy. Life continued. It had to. Infant mortality is staggeringly high. Perhaps 1 in 3 babies does not survive the first year. They die from infections, from accidents, from cold, from malnutrition, from causes that are never understood. Mothers learn not to become too attached in the early months. It is a psychological defense mechanism. You love the baby, but you hold a part of yourself back, protecting yourself from the grief that is so often inevitable. It sounds heartless. It is survival. If you are a child in the Ice Age, you do not have the luxury of a carefree childhood. There are no schools, no playgrounds, no toys beyond simple carved figures or dolls made from scraps. By the age of 5 or 6, you're already contributing to the clan's survival. You gather firewood, you collect berries and nuts, you learn to identify edible plants and avoid poisonous ones. You watch the adults and imitate their skills. How to knap flint, how to sew hides, how to track animals. Education is entirely hands-on. You learn by doing, by making mistakes, and by listening to the stories the elders tell around the fire. These stories are not just entertainment. They are survival manuals encoded in myth and memory. Let's follow a typical child, a boy of perhaps 7 years old. His day begins at dawn. He wakes in the communal sleeping area, untangles himself from the pile of bodies, and immediately begins his assigned tasks. Today he is responsible for gathering firewood. This is not a simple chore. It requires knowledge and effort. He must find wood that is dry enough to burn. Wet wood smokes and produces little heat. He looks for dead branches that have fallen from trees, not wood lying on the damp ground. He breaks the branches into manageable lengths, bundles them together, and carries them back to camp. This takes hours. His arms ache. But he does not complain. This is his job. In the afternoon, he joins his mother and the other women who are out gathering plants. He watches carefully as they identify edible roots and berries. This one is good. That one will make you sick. This one must be cooked. That one can be eaten raw. The knowledge is vast and complex. There are hundreds of plants in the environment, and knowing which are useful and which are deadly is a matter of life and death. He learns by observation and by testing, always under supervision. Once, he picked a mushroom that looked similar to an edible variety. His mother slapped it out of his hand. "That one kills you," she said. He never forgot. He also learns practical skills. An older boy, perhaps 12, is teaching him to knap flint. This is a specialist skill that takes years to master. The older boy demonstrates. He takes a large nodule of flint and strikes it with a hammerstone at a precise angle. A flake chips off, sharp as glass. He hands the boy a piece of flint and lets him try. The boy strikes. Nothing happens. He strikes again. A small flake breaks off, but it is not sharp. The older boy corrects his grip, adjusts the angle. Try again. The boy practices for an hour. His hands are sore. He has produced nothing useful, but he is learning. This is how knowledge is passed down, not through books or lectures, but through repetition and apprenticeship. Children also play, but their play is practice for adult life. Boys play at hunting. They fashion small spears from sticks and throw them at targets. They stalk each other through the grass, learning to move silently. They wrestle, building strength and learning to fight. Girls play at gathering and childcare. They carry dolls made from bundles of grass wrapped in scraps of hide. They practice fire tending, carefully feeding small flames with twigs under the watchful eyes of adults. Play is not frivolous. It is training. Discipline is swift and direct. If a child is careless and lets the fire die, they are scolded, possibly struck. If a child steals food from the communal store, they are punished severely. The clan cannot afford selfishness. Everyone must follow the rules. Children learn quickly that their actions have consequences. There is no time-out corner. There is no gentle redirection. There is only the harsh reality of survival. But children are also loved. Parents dote on them. They are held, sung to, comforted when they cry. The clan celebrates when a child takes their first steps, speaks their first words, makes their first successful kill. Childhood is hard, but it is not loveless. The bonds between parent and child are strong. The loss of a child is devastating. But sentiment cannot override necessity. Children must grow up fast. By the time they reach puberty, they are expected to function as full members of the clan, contributing as much as any adult. It's like being thrown into the deep end of the pool, except the pool is full of ice water and wolves. You possess a gift that no other animal on Earth can match. Language. You can communicate complex ideas, share knowledge, and coordinate with your clan in ways that lions and wolves can only dream of. Your language is not written. There is no alphabet, no grammar books, no dictionaries. It is entirely oral, passed from generation to generation through storytelling, songs, and repetition. You use language to plan hunts, to warn each other of danger, to teach the young, and to strengthen social bonds. You also use it to gossip, to joke, and to express emotions. Language is the invisible thread that binds your clan together. It is what allows 20 humans to work as a single coordinated unit, and it is the reason your species will eventually dominate the planet. Think about what you can do with language that no other animal can. You can describe things that are not physically present. You can talk about the herd of horses you saw yesterday, 3 valleys away. You can describe their behavior, their numbers, the terrain. You can plan with the other hunters. Tomorrow we will go back. We will approach from the east. You will circle around. I will drive them toward you. This level of coordination is impossible without language. Wolves can hunt in packs, but their coordination is instinctive and immediate. They cannot plan a hunt for tomorrow. You can. You can also share knowledge across time. The elders tell stories about the great winter 20 years ago, when the snow was deeper than a man's height. They describe how the clan survived by sheltering in a particular cave and rationing their stored food. This knowledge is invaluable. When another harsh winter comes, the clan knows what to do because the memory has been preserved in language. You can learn from the experiences of people who are long dead. Their wisdom lives on in stories. Your language is rich with metaphor and symbolism. You do not just say the lion is dangerous. You say the lion is dead with teeth, the shadow that hunts the unwary, the beast that takes the foolish. This poetic language is not mere decoration. It is mnemonic. It helps people remember. Stories told in vivid, symbolic language are easier to recall than dry facts. This is why the elders teach through myths and parables. The story of the young hunter who ignored the signs of the storm and was caught in the open, freezing to death, is a cautionary tale that teaches respect for weather patterns. Everyone remembers the story. Everyone learns the lesson. You also use language to establish and maintain social bonds. Gossip is a crucial function. Who is trustworthy? Who is lazy? Who shares their food generously? Who hoards? This information is spread through conversation. Reputation matters intensely in a small clan. If you gain a reputation as selfish or dishonest, you will be shunned. You might even be expelled. Language allows the clan to police itself through social pressure rather than violence. Humour is another important function. Laughter strengthens bonds. You sit around the fire and someone tells a funny story about the time a hunter tripped and fell face first into a mud puddle while stalking a deer. Everyone laughs. The embarrassment is shared and diffused. The hunter laughs too, because being able to laugh at yourself is a sign of social confidence. Humour also relieves tension. After a close call with a predator or a near miss during a hunt, humour allows the clan to process fear and stress. Your language also has grammar and syntax, though you're not consciously aware of these structures. You know instinctively that we hunt the deer, tomorrow is correct, and hunt we deer, the tomorrow is nonsense. You understand the tense, past, present, future. You understand pronouns. I, you, we, they. You can construct complex sentences with multiple clauses. If the weather is good tomorrow, and if the hunters are ready, we will leave at dawn to track the herd we saw near the river. This sentence conveys multiple pieces of information and conditional logic. No animal communication system comes close to this level of complexity. Language is also deeply personal. You have names. Your clan has given you a name, and that name is part of your identity. When someone speaks your name, you respond. Your name connects you to your history, to your family, to your place in the clan. Language allows you to exist not just as a body, but as an individual with an identity. It's like having a superpower that you use constantly without even realizing it. While other animals grunt and howl, you are composing symphonies of meaning with every conversation. Deep inside the cave where your clan shelters, far from the entrance where the wind howls, there is a hidden chamber. The walls are covered in paintings, red ochre handprints, charcoal outlines of horses, bison, and mammoths. These images are not decorations. They are sacred. They are magic. Your people believe that by painting an animal on the wall, you gain power over it. You ensure a successful hunt. You honor the spirit of the beast. Creating these paintings is a communal ritual. The ochre is ground from iron-rich rocks. The charcoal is taken from the sacred fire. The images are drawn by the most skilled members of the clan, often the elders who have a lifetime of knowledge. This art is your clan's connection to the unseen world, the realm of spirits and ancestors. The journey to the painting chamber is itself a ritual. You must crawl through a narrow passage, leaving the main cave behind. The passage is dark and tight. You carry a torch, a bundle of dried grass soaked in animal fat. The flickering light casts dancing shadows on the walls. Finally, the passage opens into a small round chamber. The walls are smooth stone, and they are covered in images. Some of the paintings are old, created by previous generations. Some are new. You recognize the style of the clan's current artist, an elder woman whose hands are gnarled with age but whose eye is still sharp. She has painted a bison, its body rendered in swift, confident strokes of charcoal. The proportions are perfect. The sense of movement is captured in the curve of the back and the position of the legs. This is not amateur work. This is the product of decades of practice. But why paint? What purpose does this serve? The answer is complex. On one level, the paintings are sympathetic magic. Your people believe that all animals have spirits. By capturing the image of the animal, you capture a piece of its spirit. This gives you power over it. Before a hunt, the clan gathers in this chamber. The hunters look at the paintings of the animals they will hunt. They ask the spirits for permission. They promise to honor the animal, to use every part, to waste nothing. This is not superstition in the dismissive modern sense. This is a deeply held spiritual belief that governs behavior. The rituals around hunting ensure that animals are respected and not overhunted. The handprints are equally significant. To create a handprint, you place your hand flat against the wall. Then you take a mouthful of red ochre powder mixed with water. You spray this over your hand, creating a negative image. When you remove your hand, a pale silhouette remains, surrounded by red. This is your mark, your proof that you existed, your connection to this sacred place. The walls are covered in dozens, perhaps hundreds of handprints. Some are large, from adult men. Some are small, from children. Some are ancient, faded to a ghostly outline. Each one is a person, a life, a member of the clan stretching back through time. Creating the pigments is labor-intensive. Red ochre comes from iron-rich clay. It must be collected, ground into a fine powder, then mixed with animal fat or water to create a paint. Charcoal is easier. It is taken from the fire, the burned ends of sticks. Black manganese oxide is also sometimes used. Each colour has symbolic meaning. Red is blood, life, power. Black is night, mystery, the spirit world. White, made from crushed chalk or bone, is rare and precious. The act of painting is often accompanied by singing or chanting. The artist does not work in silence. The entire clan may be present, their voices filling the chamber. The songs are ancient, passed down through generations. They tell the story of the first hunt, of the first fire, of the creation of the world. The songs are the clan's history, their mythology, their identity, and they are inseparable from the act of creating art. To a modern observer, these cave paintings might seem primitive, but they are not. They are sophisticated, intentional, and deeply meaningful. They represent abstract thinking, symbolic representation, and a connection to the spiritual. They prove that your people are not just surviving. They're creating meaning. They're asking the big questions. Why are we here? What happens after death? How should we live? The paintings are not answers. They are the questions themselves, rendered in pigment and firelight on the walls of a hidden chamber. It's like having a cathedral, except the cathedral is made of stone and shadows, and the prayers are painted in ochre. Death is not an abstract concept. It is a constant companion. You've seen people die from starvation, from infections, from childbirth, from predator attacks, from falls, from cold. The average lifespan is brutally short. Many children do not survive to adulthood. Many adults do not survive past 40. When someone dies, the clan mourns. You may bury the body in a shallow grave, sometimes with offerings. A favourite tool, a carved figure, a handful of red ochre. These rituals suggest a belief in an afterlife, a hope that death is not the final end. But hope does not ease the grief. Every loss weakens the clan. Every death is a reminder of your own fragility. Let's witness death. An old man, one of the elders, has been declining for weeks. He is perhaps 50, ancient by the standards of your time. He no longer eats. He can barely drink water. He lies by the fire, his breathing shallow and laboured. The clan knows he is dying. They have seen this before. They gather around him. His children and grandchildren sit close. They hold his hands. They speak to him quietly, though it is unclear if he can hear. As the hours pass, his breathing becomes more irregular. Long pauses between breaths, then a gasp, then another pause. The clan sits in silence, waiting. Finally, the breathing stops. No one moves. They wait to be sure. A minute passes. 2. He does not breathe again. He is gone. Someone closes his eyes. Someone else begins to keen, a high, wailing cry of grief. Others join in. The sound fills the cave, echoing off the stone. This is mourning, raw and unfiltered. The body must be dealt with quickly. In warm weather, decay begins within hours. The clan discusses what to do. Some clans practice burial. Others practice exposure, leaving the body in a remote location for scavengers. This clan chooses burial. A grave is dug outside the cave, a shallow depression scraped into the rocky soil. It is back-breaking work. The ground is hard, but it is done. The body is prepared. It is washed with water. The best furs the man owned are wrapped around him. His favourite tool, a beautifully crafted hand axe, is placed beside him. Someone sprinkles red ochre over the body, red for life, for blood, for the hope of rebirth. These grave goods suggest a belief in an afterlife. The clan believes he will need these things in the next world. Whether this is literally true or a comforting metaphor, no one can say. But it matters. It gives meaning to the loss. The body is placed in the grave. The clan gathers around. There is no formal funeral service, no priest, no written scripture. But there are words. The dead man's elder son speaks. He recounts his father's life, the successful hunts, the wisdom shared. The children were raised. He thanks his father for his contributions to the clan. Others speak as well, sharing memories. Then the grave is filled. Earthen stones are piled on top. A large flat stone is placed on the surface to mark the spot and to prevent scavengers from digging up the body. The mourning continues for days. The immediate family may abstain from certain activities. They may not participate in hunts. They may sit apart from the rest of the clan, processing their grief. But life must continue. There is work to be done, food to gather. The fire tends. Grief is acknowledged but not allowed to paralyze. This is not callousness. This is a necessity. Death is especially hard when it is sudden. A young hunter killed by a boar. A child who wanders away from camp and is taken by a predator. A woman who slips on a wet rock and hits her head, dying instantly. These deaths are shocking. They leave the clan shaken, because they are reminders that death can come at any moment, without warning, without mercy. You think about death, often. You cannot help it. You have seen too much. You wonder what happens after. Do the dead go somewhere? Do they watch over the living? The elders say yes. They say the ancestors are always near, guiding and protecting. You want to believe this. It is comforting. But you also have doubts. When you look at a corpse, you see an empty shell. Where did the person go? The question haunts you. But you have no answer. No one does. So you live with the uncertainty. And you honour the dead as best you can, hoping that when your time comes, someone will do the same for you. Summer is hard, but winter is hell. The days are short and grey. The nights are endless and freezing. Snow blankets the ground, hiding the plants you rely on. The game animals migrate or go into hibernation. Your clan retreats deep into the cave, huddling around the fire, rationing the dried meat and stored nuts that must last until spring. Frostbite is common. Fingers and toes turn black and must sometimes be amputated. Hypothermia is a constant threat. You sleep in shifts, always keeping the fire fed, because if it dies, you all die. Winter is when the weak, the old, and the very young are most likely to perish. It is a war of attrition, and every spring that you survive feels like a miracle. The first snows come in late autumn. At first they are light, a dusting that melts by midday. But then the real snows arrive, heavy, wet, relentless. The world transforms. The landscape you know disappears under a white blanket. The trails are gone. The familiar landmarks are obscured. Navigation becomes treacherous. The cold is unlike anything you experience in other seasons. It is not just uncomfortable, it is dangerous. Exposure kills quickly. Your clan has prepared as best as possible. Throughout the autumn you have been storing food, nuts collected and hidden in leather pouches, dried meat from successful hunts, cut into strips and smoked over the fire, berries dried in the sun. These stores are kept in the back of the cave, carefully rationed. An elder is in charge of distribution. Each person receives a small portion each day. It is never enough. You are always hungry. But if the food runs out before spring, everyone starves. So you endure the gnawing hunger. The cold is inescapable. Even inside the cave, huddled by the fire, you're cold. The stone walls radiate chill. Your breath forms clouds. You wear every piece of clothing you own, multiple layers of furs. Your hands and feet are wrapped in scraps of hide stuffed with dried grass. But the cold finds its way in. Your fingers and toes ache. The pain is constant. You check them daily for signs of frostbite. The skin turns white, then greyish-blue, then black. Once the tissue is dead, it will rot if not removed. Amputation is done with a sharp flint blade. The dead flesh is cut away. The wound is cauterized with a hot stone or a burning brand. It is agonizing. But it is better than dying from gangrene. Leaving the cave is dangerous. You only venture out when absolutely necessary, to gather firewood, to check snares for small game, to relieve yourself. Even these short trips are risky. The wind is brutal, cutting through your layers of fur like they are not there. Snow blindness is a real hazard. The endless white landscape reflects the weak winter sun, damaging your eyes. You learn to squint to shield your face. Some people fashion crude snow goggles from strips of leather with narrow slits cut in them. Hunting in winter is nearly impossible. The large game has migrated south or to lower elevations, following the receding grasslands. The small game is scarce. Rabbits and hares are lean, offering little fat. You set snares and check them daily, but often they are empty. When you do catch something, it is a small victory. The animal is skinned, cooked, and shared among the clan. A single rabbit split 20 ways is barely a mouthful per person. But it is something. The psychological toll of winter is as hard as the physical. The endless darkness wears on you. The sun rises late and sets early. You spend most of your time in the dim, smoky interior of the cave. Tempers fray. Arguments break out over trivial matters. The close quarters breed tension. People snap at each other. But open conflict is dangerous. The clan must remain united. Disputes are mediated by the elders, who enforce peace through authority and social pressure. Illness spreads quickly in winter. Respiratory infections pass from person to person. Someone develops a cough. Within days, half the clan is coughing. For the young and strong, it is miserable but survivable. For the old and the very young, it can be fatal. You watch an infant struggle to breathe, his tiny chest heaving. His mother holds him, desperate and helpless. He dies in the night. Another loss. Another grave to dig when the ground thaws. Spring arrives slowly. The first signs are subtle. The days grow imperceptibly longer. The snow begins to melt, revealing patches of brown earth. The ice on the stream cracks, and then, one morning, you hear it. The call of a returning bird. The clan celebrates. They have survived. Not all of them. Some didn't make it, but enough. The clan endures. It's like being trapped in a freezer for 4 months while running a marathon. And the prize for finishing is that you get to do it all again next year. When the sun sets, the world transforms into a place of primal terror. The darkness is absolute. There are no streetlights, no flashlights, no moon bright enough to see by on cloudy nights. The only light is the fire, and beyond its circle of warmth and safety is the unknown. You hear sounds, the crack of a branch, the rustle of leaves, the low growl of something large and hungry. Your imagination runs wild. You know there are predators out there, cave bears, wolves, lions. But there are also things you cannot explain. Strange lights in the distance, eerie howls. Your people have stories of spirits and demons that walk the night. Whether these are real or imagined doesn't matter. The fear is the same. Let's set the scene. The sun has set. The last traces of purple twilight fade from the sky. Darkness falls like a curtain. Inside the cave, the fire is the only source of light. Its flickering flames cast dancing shadows on the walls. The shadows move and shift, creating the illusion of figures where there are none. Your eyes play tricks on you. You see movement in the corners. You turn, but there is nothing there. Outside, the darkness is complete. On a moonless, overcast night, you literally cannot see your hand in front of your face. This is a kind of darkness that modern people, living in light-polluted cities, cannot comprehend. It is oppressive. It is disorienting. It is terrifying. Because in that darkness, anything could be hiding, and you would never know until it was too late. You hear the sounds of the night, the wind sighing through the trees, an owl hooting in the distance, the skitter of some small animal across the rocks. These are normal sounds, but then you hear something else, a low rumbling growl. It is close, very close. The entire clan freezes, eyes wide, hearts pounding. Someone throws more wood on the fire. The flames leap higher, pushing back the darkness. The growl does not repeat. But you know what it was. A predator, watching, waiting. Your people have stories about the things that hunt in the dark. The cave bear is real. You have seen their tracks. You have found their dens. They are massive creatures, far larger than any modern bear. They can kill a human with a single swipe of their paw. They avoid fire, usually, but a starving bear might risk it. The stories say that bears can smell fear, that they are drawn to it. You do not know if this is true, but you are afraid and you cannot hide it. There are also stories of spirits, the ghosts of the dead who did not receive proper burial. They are said to wander the night, envious of the living. They can bring illness. They can steal children. The elders perform rituals to keep them at bay, offerings of food left at the edge of camp, protective symbols carved into stones. Whether these rituals work or not, they provide psychological comfort. They give the illusion of control in a situation where you have almost none. Some nights, the clan sees lights in the distance, strange flickering lights that move through the forest. No one knows what they are. Swamp gas, perhaps, though you have no name for it. Or reflections from the eyes of animals, or something else entirely. The lights are always taken as a bad omen. The clan will not travel in that direction. The forest where the lights are seen is avoided. It is marked as a place of spirits. The fear of the dark is not irrational. It is based on real danger. Predators hunt at night. They have better night vision than you. They are silent and fast. A wolf pack could surround the camp and you would not know until they attacked. This is why the fire is so important. It is not just warmth. It is a barrier, a shield of light against the darkness and everything in it. Sleep does not come easily. You lie awake, listening. Every sound is analysed. Is that the wind or something moving? Your body is tense, ready to react. When you finally sleep, it is light and fitful. You dream of being chased through darkness. You dream of teeth and claws. These are not idle nightmares. They are your brain processing the very real danger you face every night. Morning, when it comes, is a profound relief. The sun rises. The darkness retreats. The world becomes visible again. The shadows resolve into trees and rocks, ordinary and unthreatening. The fear recedes, but it never disappears entirely, because you know that when night falls again, the terror will return. It's like living in a horror movie, except there are no credits rolling at the end. The monster is real, and the movie never stops. You spend hours each, day making and maintaining tools. This is not a hobby. It is essential to survival. Your most important tool is the hand axe, a fist-sized piece of flint that has been carefully knapped into a sharp, multi-purpose blade. You use it to butcher animals, to scrape hides, to chop wood, to dig roots. Creating one requires skill and patience. You strike the flint at precise angles, flaking off thin pieces to create a sharp edge. One mistake and the entire piece shatters, forcing you to start over. You also make spear points, scrapers, awls for sewing, and needles from bone. Every tool represents hours of labour, and every tool is precious. If you lose your hand axe, you're not just inconvenienced, you are endangered. Let's walk through the process of making a hand axe. First, you need to find flint. Flint is a type of stone that fractures in predictable ways, creating sharp edges. It is found in certain types of rock formations. Your clan knows where to look. The good flint sources are jealously guarded. When you find a suitable piece, a nodule roughly the size of a grapefruit, you bring it back to camp. You sit by the fire with your tools, a hammerstone, a rounded piece of hard stone that fits comfortably in your hand, and an antler tine, a piece of shed antler that can be used for more delicate work. You place the flint nodule on a leather pad on your lap. This protects your legs from the sharp flakes. You examine the nodule, looking for the best angle to begin. Flint has natural planes of weakness. If you strike along these planes, the stone will fracture cleanly. If you strike against them, it will shatter unpredictably. You raise the hammerstone and strike. A sharp crack. A large flake breaks away, revealing the glassy interior of the flint. Good. You continue. Each strike is deliberate. You're shaping the stone, removing material to create the form you want. The goal is a teardrop shape, pointed at one end, rounded at the other. The edges must be sharp. The overall form must fit comfortably in your hand. After perhaps 30 minutes of rough shaping, you have something that resembles a hand axe. But it is not finished. The edges are jagged. They need to be refined. This is where the antler tine comes in. You use it to apply pressure to the edge of the flint, pushing rather than striking. Tiny flakes pop off, smoothing the edge and making it sharper. This pressure flaking is delicate work. Too much pressure, and you create a deep notch. Too little and nothing happens. It takes practice. Years of practice. Finally, after an hour of work, you have a finished hand axe. You test the edge with your thumb. It is sharp, razor sharp. You could shave with it if shaving was something your people did. This tool is now your companion. It will travel with you. It will perform 1,000 tasks, and eventually it will wear out or break, and you will make another. But the hand axe is just one tool. You also need spear points. These are made from carefully shaped flakes of flint, napped into leaf or triangular shapes. A good spear point is symmetrical, thin, and sharp. It must be strong enough not to break on impact, but thin enough to penetrate hide and flesh. The spear point is then hafted, attached to a wooden shaft using sinew and tree resin as glue. The sinew is wrapped around the joint, wet. As it dries, it shrinks and tightens, creating a bond as strong as any modern adhesive. You make scrapers for working hides. These are thick flakes with a strong beveled edge. They're used to scrape fat and tissue from the inside of hides during tanning. You make awls, sharp-pointed tools for punching holes in leather. These are often made from bone rather than flint. A long, thin bone from the leg of a deer is sharpened to a point. It is perfect for sewing. You make needles from bone. This is incredibly difficult. You take a small, thin bone, perhaps from a bird. You smooth it and sharpen one end to a point. Then, using a sharp flint tool, you carefully drill a hole near the opposite end. This eye is where the sinew thread will pass through. Drilling the hole without breaking the bone takes patience and a steady hand. A single needle represents hours of work, and it is worth it. A needle allows you to sew fitted clothing, shelters, and water containers. It is one of the most valuable tools you own. Every tool is maintained meticulously. A dull edge is resharpened. A broken point is replaced. Nothing is discarded until it is completely unusable, and even then the pieces are often repurposed. A broken hand axe might become a scraper. A worn-out scraper might be used as a wedge. Your relationship with your tools is intimate. They are extensions of your body. They are what allow a weak, clawless primate to dominate the landscape. It's like being a craftsman, except your workshop is the entire world, and your materials are stone and bone and the patience of a saint. Your world is full of forces you cannot understand. Thunder that shakes the ground, lightning that splits trees, illnesses that strike without warning. To make sense of this chaos, you believe in magic. You believe that animals have spirits that must be respected, that certain places, like a lightning-struck tree or a deep pool, are sacred or cursed, that the elders can communicate with the ancestors through dreams and rituals. You wear amulets, carved from bone or stone, that are believed to bring luck or protection. You perform small rituals before a hunt, offerings of food or blood to ensure success. Whether or not these rituals work does not matter. They give you a sense of control in a world where you have almost none. Let's examine the magical thinking that permeates your daily life. Every morning begins with small rituals. Before leaving the cave, you touch a particular rock formation near the entrance. Everyone does this. It has been worn smooth by thousands of hands over generations. The elders say this rock is blessed by the ancestors. Touching it brings safety for the day ahead. You do not question this. It is simply what is done. Around your neck you wear an amulet. It is a small carved figure, no larger than your thumb, made from mammoth ivory. It depicts a woman with exaggerated features, large breasts, wide hips, a swollen belly. This is a fertility charm. Your mother gave it to you when you came of age. She said it would bring you strength and many children. You wear it always. When things go well, the hunt is successful. You avoid injury. You attribute some of this good fortune to the amulet. When things go poorly, you wonder if you have somehow offended it. Perhaps you didn't show proper respect. Perhaps you need to make an offering. The natural world is full of spirits. Every animal you hunt has a spirit. When you kill a deer, you must thank its spirit for giving its life to feed your clan. You might leave a small offering near the kill site, a bit of meat placed on a rock, a few drops of blood poured onto the ground. This is not waste. This is payment. It ensures that other deer will continue to offer themselves to your hunters. The spirits are watching. They remember who shows respect and who does not. Certain places are recognized as sacred or dangerous. There is a grove of ancient trees half a day's walk from your cave. No one goes there unless absolutely necessary. The trees are twisted and gnarled, and the light that filters through the canopy is strange and greenish. The elders say spirits gather there. Good spirits or bad spirits, no one is quite sure. But the place feels wrong. The air is heavy. Birds do not sing there. When you must pass near it, you move quickly and quietly, making no eye contact with the trees as if they might notice you. Lightning-struck trees are particularly powerful. When lightning hits a tree, it is a sign that the sky spirits have touched the earth. The charred wood from such a tree is collected and kept. It is believed to have protective properties. Small pieces might be burned during rituals or carried as charms. The power of the sky is contained in that blackened wood. Dreams are not dismissed as mere imagination. They are messages. The elders pay close attention to their dreams and to the dreams of others. If someone dreams of a successful hunt, it is taken as good omen. Plans might be made based on the dream. If someone dreams of death or disaster, it is taken seriously. The clan might delay a planned migration or avoid a certain area. Dreams are a way the spirit world communicates with the living world. To ignore them would be foolish and dangerous. The elders hold special power. They are believed to have stronger connections to the spirit world. An elder might perform a healing ritual for someone who is sick. This involves chanting, the burning of certain herbs, and the laying on of hands. The sick person is touched on the forehead, the chest, the belly. The elder calls on the ancestors to drive out the sickness. Whether this works through spiritual means or through the placebo effect, the psychological comfort it provides is impossible to say. But people do sometimes recover after these rituals, and when they do, the elder's power is confirmed. Before a major hunt, the clan gathers for a ritual. The hunters paint their bodies with ochre and charcoal, red for blood and life, black for the night and the hunt. They dance around the fire, mimicking the movements of the animals they will hunt. They ask the animal spirits for permission. They promise to use every part of the kill. They perform this ritual because it works. Not necessarily because it ensures a successful hunt in a supernatural sense, but because it focuses the hunters' minds. It creates unity. It builds confidence. The ritual transforms a group of nervous individuals into a coordinated hunting party, and that makes all the difference. You believe in magic because you need to. The world is too vast, too dangerous, too unpredictable to face without some framework of meaning. Magic provides that framework. It explains the inexplicable. It offers hope in hopeless situations. It creates structure where there is only chaos. Modern people might call this superstition, but to you, it is as real and vital as the air you breathe. It's like having an instruction manual for the universe. except the manual is written in symbols and rituals instead of words. One day, your scouts return with troubling news. They have seen another clan, strangers, camp near the river. This is your clan's territory, and their presence is a direct threat. Resources are scarce. Every edible plant, every game animal, every fishing spot is precious. Sharing means less for your people, and less means starvation. Your clan gathers to decide what to do. Some argue for confrontation, for driving the strangers away with a show of force. Others argue for caution, for watching and waiting. Violence is possible, even likely. Territorial conflicts between clans can be brutal. But so is negotiation. Perhaps the strangers have something to trade: tools, furs, information. Perhaps a marriage alliance can be formed. The decision is not easy, but it must be made. The news spreads through the clan like wildfire. Strangers. The word itself carries weight. Everyone has heard stories of encounters with other clans. Some ended peacefully, many did not. You gather with the other adults to discuss the situation. The atmosphere is tense. Hands rest on weapons, spears, hand axes. Everyone is on edge. The scouts provide details. The strangers number perhaps 15 to 20 individuals. They have set up a temporary camp near the bend in the river, exactly where your clan likes to fish in the autumn. They have a fire. They have children with them, which suggests they are not a raiding party but a migrating clan. But this does not make them less dangerous. A clan with children is a clan that needs resources. They will compete with you for food. The debate begins. The younger hunters, those with something to prove, argue for immediate confrontation. Drive them out now, before they become entrenched. Show them that this territory belongs to your clan. Take their supplies if possible. The arguments are passionate, resources are limited. There is not enough for two clans. If you allow them to stay, your own people will suffer. The elders urge caution. They have lived through previous encounters with strangers. Some went badly. They remember a clash with another clan 10 years ago. It started as a dispute over a hunting ground. It escalated into violence. 3 of your hunters were killed, 2 from the other clan. The feud continued for months, with ambushes and retaliatory raids. Eventually, both clans were weakened, and both had to retreat to less desirable territories. The memory is bitter. War is costly. But the elders also remember peaceful encounters. Occasionally 2 clans will meet and through careful negotiation, establish a relationship. Trade can be beneficial. The strangers might have access to resources you do not. Perhaps they come from a region where a particular type of stone is abundant, useful for making better tools. Perhaps they have knowledge of plants or animals that your clan does not know. Trade is risky. It requires trust. But it can also be advantageous. There is also the question of marriage alliances. Your clan is small. Inbreeding is a constant concern. Genetic diversity is limited, though you have no understanding of genetics. What you do know is that occasionally children are born with deformities or weaknesses. The elders have noticed that this is more common when close relatives mate. Bringing in new blood, new people from other clans, strengthens the group. If the strangers have women of marriageable age, or if they would accept one of your clan's women, an alliance could be formed. This is how clans grow and strengthen. The decision is put to a vote. The clan is divided. Half favour confrontation, half favour caution. Finally, a compromise is reached. A small delegation will approach the strangers, not a war party, but a diplomatic mission. 3 of your clan's most experienced hunters, including 1 elder, will go. They will be armed, but they will not attack unless attacked first. They will observe. They will attempt communication. They will assess whether the strangers are hostile or open to negotiation. You are chosen to be part of this delegation. It is both an honour and a terrifying responsibility. You spend the night preparing. You sharpen your spear. You check your weapons. You try to sleep but cannot. The next morning, the three of you set out. As you approach the stranger's camp, your heart pounds. You move slowly, visibly, making sure they see you coming. You do not want to be mistaken for a threat. When you are within shouting distance, you stop. You raise your hands to show they are empty. The strangers have seen you. They're gathering, forming a defensive line. They're armed. The elder in your group steps forward. He begins to speak using the common gestures and sounds that many clans share. A form of proto-language, simple and universal. Peace, trade, talk. The strangers watch. One of them, an older man, steps forward. He makes the same gestures. Peace, talk. The tension eases slightly. This could go well, or it could still erupt into violence at any moment. The next few minutes will determine whether your clan gains allies or enemies. It's like a high-stakes poker game, except instead of chips, you are betting your life and the survival of everyone you love. Despite the hardships, you are not a brutish caveman. You are clever, creative, and capable of remarkable innovation. You've invented the needle, allowing you to sew fitted clothing. You've invented the spear thrower, a simple device that doubles the range and power of your spear. You've invented snares and traps for catching small game. You have learned to read the stars for navigation, to predict weather patterns, to identify hundreds of plants and their uses. You've even begun to domesticate wolves, the ancestors of dogs, recognizing that they can help with hunting and provide early warning of danger. Every generation builds on the knowledge of the last, slowly, incrementally, improving your odds of survival. Let's look at some of these innovations in detail. The spear thrower, known to archaeologists as an Atlanta, is a perfect example of human ingenuity. The concept is simple, but brilliant. It is a stick, perhaps 2 feet long, with a hook or socket at one end. You place the butt of your spear into this hook. Then, holding the spear thrower, you extend your arm back and whip it forward in a throwing motion. The spear thrower acts as an extension of your arm, increasing the leverage and therefore the speed and distance of the throw. With just your arm, you can throw a spear perhaps 30 or 40 yards with reasonable accuracy. With a spear thrower, you can double that distance, and the spear hits harder with more penetrating power. This is a game changer. It allows you to hunt larger and more dangerous animals from a safer distance. It gives you an advantage over predators. The innovation is so effective that it will remain in use for thousands of years, only gradually being replaced by the bow and arrow. The needle is another revolutionary tool. Before the needle, clothing was draped or wrapped around the body. It was bulky and inefficient. With a needle, you can sew fitted garments that conform to the body, providing better insulation and allowing greater freedom of movement. The invention of the needle represents abstract thinking. Someone had to imagine making a tiny hole in a piece of bone, threading sinew through it, and using it to join pieces of leather. This is not obvious. It required creativity and problem solving. Snares and traps demonstrate an understanding of animal behavior. You know that rabbits use the same trails repeatedly, so you set a snare, a loop of sinew, along that trail. When the rabbit runs through, the loop tightens around its neck. The more it struggles, the tighter it becomes. You return later to collect your catch. This is hunting without being present. It is efficiency. You can set multiple snares and tend to other tasks while they work for you. You have also learned to fish using more than just your hands. You create hooks from bone, carving them into a curved shape with a sharp point. You attach these to lines made from braided plant fibers or animal sinew. You bait the hook with insects or small pieces of meat. You drop it into the water and wait. This allows you to catch fish that are too fast or too deep to grab by hand. You also build weirs, fences made from sticks placed in shallow water to funnel fish into a trap. Navigation by the stars is essential knowledge. On clear nights, you look up and see the same patterns that humans have been observing for tens of thousands of years. The North Star does not move, it marks true north. The other stars rotate around it. By learning the positions of these stars at different times of year, you can navigate even at night. You know that certain constellations rise before dawn in spring. Others dominate the winter sky. This knowledge allows you to travel long distances and find your way home. Weather prediction is based on observation. You have learned that certain cloud formations precede rain, that a red sky at sunset often means good weather tomorrow, that the behaviour of animals changes before a storm. Birds fly low, deer become skittish. These are not superstitions, they are patterns noticed and remembered. Perhaps the most remarkable innovation is the beginning of animal domestication. Wolves are attracted to human camps because of food scraps. The boldest wolves venture closer. Over generations, a relationship forms. Wolves that are less aggressive and more tolerant of humans have an advantage. They get more food. They thrive. Gradually, humans begin to select for these traits, feeding the friendliest wolves, driving away the aggressive ones. The result, over many generations, is the dog, a wolf transformed by human selection. These early dogs are not pets in the modern sense. They are working animals. They help with hunting, using their superior sense of smell to track game. They guard the camp, barking to alert the clan when strangers or predators approach. They eat scraps that humans cannot use. It is a mutually beneficial relationship, and it is the beginning of a partnership between humans and animals that will change the course of history. Every innovation, every new idea, is built on the accumulated knowledge of previous generations. Your elders teach you what they learned from their elders. You refine and improve, you experiment, you make mistakes and learn from them. This is cumulative culture. It is what separates humans from every other species. A wolf today is essentially the same as a wolf 10,000 years ago, but you are vastly more capable than your ancestors of even a few hundred generations back, and your descendants will be even more capable still. It's like being part of the longest-running experiment in problem-solving that the world has ever seen. And somehow, against all odds, it is working. Your clan does not stay in one place for long. You are nomadic, following the herds, following the seasons, always searching for food. Every few weeks or months you pack up your meagre possessions and move. This is exhausting, but it is necessary. Staying in one place for too long depletes the local resources. The game disappears. The edible plants are picked clean. So you move. You know the landscape intimately, the locations of water sources, the valleys where herds gather, the caves that offer shelter. This knowledge is collective and sacred. It is passed down through generations in the form of songs and stories. Forgetting the way to a vital water source could mean death for the entire clan. Let's walk through a migration. The decision to move is not made lightly. The clan has been camped in the same cave for nearly 2 months. It is late summer. The berry bushes nearby have been stripped. The fishing in the river has been poor. The game is scarce. The hunters have to travel farther and farther each day to find anything worth killing. The elders confer. The signs are clear. It is time to move to the autumn camp. The autumn camp is 3 days' walk to the south. It is located in a valley where deer and horses gather before their seasonal migration. The hunting there is usually good. There are nut trees, oak and hazel, that produce abundantly in autumn. The clan has been going to this place for generations. It is part of the annual cycle. Spring in one location, summer in another, autumn and winter in specific known places. This pattern is encoded. in the clan's collective memory. Preparation begins immediately. Everything must be packed and carried. You have no beasts of burden, no carts, no wheels. Everything is carried on human backs. The hides and furs that make up your bedding are rolled tightly and tied with sinew. The tools, hand axes, scrapers, awls are gathered and placed in leather pouches. The precious fire is prepared for transport. Hot coals from the central fire are placed in a container made from a large shell or a hollowed stone. This container is packed with dried moss to insulate the coals and keep them smouldering. Someone is assigned to carry this container. Their responsibility is immense. If the coals die during the journey, the clan will have to make fire from scratch at the new camp. This is time-consuming and difficult. Food stores are also packed. The dried meat and nuts that remain are carefully wrapped. Water is carried in pouches made from animal stomachs. These hold perhaps a litre each. Water is heavy, so you carry only enough for the journey. You know where the streams and springs are along the route. On the morning of departure, the clan gathers outside the cave. Everyone carries something. The strongest adults carry the heaviest loads, the hides, the bundled poles that form shelter frames, the fire container. Children carry smaller items. Even the youngest who can walk carry a small pouch or a bundle of light materials. Infants are carried in slings against their mothers' chests. The elderly carry what they can manage. No one is exempt from labour unless they are truly unable. The journey begins. You walk in a loose group spread out along the trail. The scouts, the youngest and fastest hunters, range ahead, looking for danger and identifying the best path. The main group follows. The pace is slow. You stop frequently to rest, to drink, to nurse infants, to allow the elderly to catch their breath. The landscape you travel through is both familiar and dangerous. You follow game trails, paths worn into the earth by the passage of countless animals. These trails are efficient. They take the path of least resistance through the terrain, but they are also used by predators. You must stay alert. The scouts whistle back information. All clear. Danger ahead. Stop. At midday, the clan stops for a meal. You eat dried meat and nuts. You drink from a stream. The children play, burning off energy. The adults check their loads, adjusting straps, redistributing weight. The journey continues. By evening, you reach the first waypoint. It is a rocky outcrop with a small overhang, just large enough for the clan to shelter under. This is a known camping spot. The clan has stopped here many times. There are old fire pits, circles of stones. You gather firewood. The fire is started using the precious coals that have been carried all day. The clan eats, rests, sleeps. The next 2 days follow the same pattern. Walk, rest, eat, sleep, walk. On the third day, you reach the autumn camp. It is exactly as remembered. A large cave in the side of a limestone cliff. The entrance faces south, catching the sun. A stream runs nearby. The valley spreads out below, already showing signs of the coming herds. Distant specks on the horizon that will, in a few days, become hundreds of deer and horses. The clan begins the process of settling in. The cave is cleaned. Old debris is swept out. Sleeping areas are established. Firewood is gathered. The scouts go out to assess the hunting. Life begins again in this new place. But it is not really new. It is ancient. Your people have been coming here for longer than anyone can remember. The walls of the cave bear the handprints of ancestors who died generations ago. This is home. One of several homes in the great circuit your clan travels. It's like being a permanent traveller, except the destinations are always the same, and the journey is your entire life.